Okay, Saturday weekend stream. Well, yeah, I like to get a lot of work done on the weekends, and then it doesn't really end up that way, but I gotta take what time I can get. Um, had a pretty busy week. Um, but okay, let me jump into things. So, last time, I was kind of going through this little little outdoor scene here. Yeah, and then there's still some kind of weird stuff going on with the collision and the ledge grabbing. That'll be for another day. What I want to do today um, is, yeah. See, well, no, we don't care about that right now. Um, yeah, so we have this kind of tile-y system, um, but it doesn't really super look like tiles. It is if I turn on like lamp. These are what the actual tiles are, and there's just shapes carved into them. And we can kind of do stuff like I even added this sort of zoom out sort of thing since last time. Since what if I want to edit a lot more than you can see on screen? The screen right now is not, you can't see that much. Um, and you can even kind of go like really fast and you can't see that far in front of you. I'll probably change like how high you can jump and like how fast you can move. But the screen resolution is actually what the Super Nintendo is. Well, not exactly. It's kind of twice that, and then I just make the pixels twice as big, but that's kind of what I'm going for. This sort of squarish shape here is like what you'd be looking at on a TV if you were playing Super Nintendo, which is kind of what I want this to feel like, kind of like a Super Nintendo game. Um, I'm not going to limit myself to everything that that can do, but I am going to at least sort of, not abuse really crazy stuff. Like you can see, okay, like he flips around. That's not sprite rotation. That's just like the kind of hand drawn. There will be. I mean, SNES could obviously do sprite rotation, but it wouldn't like abuse the heck out of it. Um, and I'm not really going to stick to all their quirks like the you know tile map backgrounds and how many sprites can be on the screen at once. I'm not going to go all that far, but I kind of wanted it to just generally feel like a retro-y game. Just kind of like how Shovel Knight feels like that, except obviously it allows itself to have more colors and you can have more sprites on the screen than NES could do. But anyway, um, with this sort of tile system, I can kind of draw tiles that they look like sort of different shapes, not just squares, and then kind of just do this like a whole blomp. That looks kind of goofy, but the collision should still work. Yeah. um, hey, he grabbed it right that time. That's an exception to the rule, unfortunately. He usually fails to do that. Yeah. But what I want to do, so, like, yeah, you can draw tiles, kind of like, oh, hey, look, we have like a hill, and you can kind of like adjust the height of it as you want. Maybe you don't want it that steep. You instead just want it to be like that. I'll just kind of erase this. We don't want that. So, that's all well and good. But, so say you wanted to like, maybe, oh, hey, that actually happened to work out. It's a bad example. So, I mean, there's some limitations with this because you're still bound to like the tile boundaries. You see, like this is like this little bump in the road here is like another hill that was formed and then just kind of cut off. Like I don't really want to be as bound to these tile-based grid shapes. For example, if I'm doing something like this, womp, and then I just want it to like, okay. So, I mean, this is kind of... If I wanted to... Oops, no, don't erase, go. Okay. So you see that there's not really anything I can do about this sort of corner here. It's like it's going to have this kind of block here. And then, you know, like, so what could I try to do about it is like, you know, can I put this here? And then, you know, you got this like kind of awkward little lip there. And if I try and like smooth it out, yeah, like it's just not, yeah. So what I want to be able to do is have a little more precision on where the tiles actually go. Obviously, they still need to be bound to this grid. But within the grid, I want to kind of be able to slide them around. Like instead of being bound to this, I just want to like add an offset basically. So if I wanted to have a square kind of just look like this, you know, you kind of take up part of the tile and not the whole thing. Or maybe it's a little like that. That would just kind of do more to make things feel more organic. And less like it's actually bound to a tile-based grid, which obviously it is. But I just don't want it to be that obvious that it is. Okay, it's really got to stop happening. I'm going to have to prioritize fixing that because that's just so embarrassing. So anyway, yeah, adding an offset to the tiles to kind of make them look like they're not bound to a grid when they in fact still are. And that was what this little, I added this little UI. It doesn't do anything for it yet, but this would be like an XY offset. And I want to implement that. So let's see if I can do that kind of quickly. I don't have a ton of time, but I at least want to get started. So I'm going to go into the tile class. It's got a lot of stuff in it. These are some of the guts to be like how the tiles can be shaped like this. I'll go into that more in detail another time, but if I want to add an offset, I'll just kind of add it over here. And then, so the offset, since the tiles are 32 by 32, I don't really need to add a whole int. Not like I'm really strapped for memory, but let me just make it a char. I don't even know if that would make it much of a difference, but, and I say offset X. Yeah. Okay, yeah. See, they're gray because they're not used. Actually, huh? What? Yeah. Can I say instead byte? Yeah, alright, fine. Okay, sure. C#. So obviously, yeah, they're going to need to know a pixel offset. And then, so this does create a little bit of a problem, and I looked into this before, because the tiles are binary serialized. So when they're saved out, all this data gets saved into like a binary blob. If we add new stuff to it, the deserializer is going to be like, hey, you saved the level with without these, and now you're trying to read in these, and like, I don't have anything for that. So I looked into, and let me just switch back to, you can't see it, but I'm looking back at this C# page where they're talking about version tolerant serialization, which is exactly what should be the cure for this, because essentially I have I'll have two versions of tiles now, and maybe more down the road. Who knows what else I'm going to add to tiles, but we have, so like the default version 1 is this version that doesn't have the offset, and then version 2 will say does have an XY offset. And yeah, so the way then to do that would be something like this. As far as I've seen, this is the first I've seen of this sort of thing, but so we have optional fields. So now when the deserializer tries to deserialize, and it doesn't see anything for offset, it's like, it's okay, you don't need it. It's not going to crash when trying to deserialize. That should be should be it. Except I don't know how to set that version added, so I'm just looking that up. Uh, where do I? In the MSDN example, there is no actual way to show where the version added is supposed to be set. So maybe it's okay just like this. I mean, we should still be able to load in just fine now. Let me make sure that we can. Okay, Unity seemed to have to do a little bit of a recompile, and then hopefully the thing everything pops back in fine. Okay, alright, good. So the deserializer didn't die when it didn't find an offset X and Y for these guys. Let me make sure I can reload it again just to. Yeah, alright. And if I save it, save. So that means I saved it. It rewrote everything back out. Can it reload all that back in just fine? Okay, alright. Alright, that's good. I will need to actually use these though in some extent, obviously. Like in the equals function, and the copy constructor. Yup, this stuff. So when we're copying a tile, this happens a lot. We'll need to copy its offset when we. Yeah, I feel like there's a better way, but yeah, we gotta check when we're comparing two tiles. Now, if their offset is different, but everything else is the same, still say that it's a different tile. Because the offset is like an independent property for tiles. You could have two of the same, say, slanted hill tile with the same slope, the same piece of the atlas, but the only thing different would be their offset. They're still a unique tile. And I guess I'll hash it. I'm not exactly sure if this is necessary, but this here's just a, I don't know totally the wizardry behind this, just Stack Overflow said to do it like this, so I could look back into that, but so more of the gooey gunky. A lot of that stuff could be shader work, you know, when it actually carves into the pixels of the tile. I should have a shader to do it, I just don't. Because I don't need to right now. I mean, eventually though. I have to Atlas do something. This is when it actually adds itself to the runtime generated Atlas of stuff, which is, I'll show you what that looks like. Yeah, I can see. So this here, I'm going to do better shot. Okay. This is a runtime generated Atlas. Why does it look that horrible? Oh, yeah, okay, yes. But it's seem to be made up of HC styles, and this is generated at runtime. So when until it edits, sometimes this logic, if you tile this logic will run. So I have to factor in the XML offset. This is again written to. Maybe this doesn't change. Tile. It's called when a new tile is being added from loading or from the header. Why is this like that? Okay, so here's the first thing we really change. If it comes in, this means if it's just a solid square tile with no special function on it, it's just a solid block. But no, the number of pixels in would be like 32 times 32, 1024. This is no longer true because we need to take into account the XML offset. So let's do that. Minus. Oh, did I not add a getter property for that? Let's do that. Yeah. Getter insert. I guess, yeah. Yeah, I guess you want to add getter insert. Let's just do that. Okay. Alright. Okay, so there. So if there's also, obviously less tiles or less pixels are involved in this, is what we're doing now, obviously just sliding the tile out of the, basically using a subsection of the tile shape. So basically, in dev32, if you have an offset of 2, you now 2 shift to the right, that's 2 MP columns. Just factor that into the pixel count. That should be right. Wait, offset 0, and if you're using up the whole area. Another thing would be, so we're offsetting from, we'll say, this is an offset from the bottom left of the square, which means instead of semi-solid, do you want semi-solid and offset? Probably yes. But let me think about this later, because how semi-solid work is the steps in half step that I saw before on last video. Page ticker, we go down and take like, the first 8 pixels of it, and just create like a little thin flap for you can jump through. Whether I want to offset that, probably yes. One thing that might be a corner case, I'll tackle later. Just want myself to do that. But if it's not, start at 0 pixel width. So for offsetting, we want to start at 0 to pixel width minus offset x. And I do it ahead of time, but so I have to do it every. Okay, that should actually get a pixel count where it's not doing all of the x, y's. The video was doing mapping x positions, the pixel in the tile to y. These are all in one function, so here's an XY mapping to find out where you are vertically versus horizontal. I'm not sure if this check before I need to come to there. Just shift the right pixel count this far and know what's doing. Should be bleeding a tile. I think the cadence might be able to be a chase that we think about next. What I want to do first is just get a single solid square and be able to shift it around. The rest of this just seems like it might need to change. It seems if the whole tile of this format is actually a duplicate, just look back and do the list of tiles already know and just redo that. So say that add the atlas. Now we can offset. We'll say this. Start at your offset and go to there. Oh, no. Start at 0. It's just that you're going to be doing calculations from 0, horizontally, vertically. It's just that the actual Mm-hmm. So this over here is like a position in the pixel position that's getting generated, that's pixelical. So this is totally shader-worthy stuff that you're having in a shader. And probably will one day. We'll see more of shaders. So okay, the scratch color is like we're drawing it's the actual pixel generated image, setting everything clear first. I'm not sure why I'm doing normal. Okay, but so I also shifting the dial to the right, and I also shifting up. So I think that's where I do that. This is now this P. Right, we only want to run it this many times. We can also we're not calculating every column. We're only calculating a subset of them. Oh, it's a diff M, so kind of don't want to care about this solid stuff yet, but yeah. This is a regular, yeah. Which right now I just want to care about solely solid tiles. So again, only do pixel calculations on some of columns. Okay. Okay, so copy the whole block of pixels there. So at this point, the scratch is now a full, completely solid block of pixels for the source status. Hmm. So if we have next offset, that means like the first couple of so if we go next offset of 2, the first couple of iterations before we want to just write blank to this block of pixels. So basically then basically this. You just want to say that I really hate this. I know there's a better way to do it, but just for the sake of getting something going first. So if we have like a shift over tile, then we're gonna pretty much just zero out, just clear out the offset portion, so there's nothing in there. And then we do the same thing for vertical too. Although now I'm just thinking about what if it's you could offset both ways. I can't believe I didn't think of that till now. You definitely might want to do that. So right now you can think in terms of a positive offset, which would shift the tile to the right. It's x positive x. Alright, so then basically, like, So we shift it left. So say you have a -2 offset, then everything's going to be shifted over. Yeah, it does kind of change how we approach. So if you do like a -2 offset, you won't start at x equals 2. It's almost like if no. If you have a negative offset, you want to shift to left, which means going from left to right. You start part of the way into tile. But if a positive offset, you just kind of like write blanks until you get to the part you want to start drawing. I already want to neaten this up, but I just want to get something going here. I've done very little, but I might be able to tell if I can horizontally shift the block right now. So I don't have this little thing hooked up to anything yet. Let me switch back and do that. So UI for that. Add a couple of more entries for that, and then where do I grab them? Oh, okay, I have to set them in inspector. Let me do that. And okay. And here I programmatically add these callbacks. What is it? Where is this? I'll just copy what this guy does. Just to give an example of what those look like. When you can kind of select a tile and tinker with it. Like I can kind of point and then point. So without actually having to draw stuff, I kind of just do stuff like that. Just kind of edit tiles one by one, and that's the function I'm going to want to do with that thing too. Right, where's this find? Let me just. Okay, yeah, I gotta do stuff like. Pretty much make another one of these. Tile that pixel width. I don't want to be any more than that. Oh, no, min, okay. This single selection is like a tile cursor that moves around when you move the mouse. Oh, whatever. Yeah. Oh. Whatever. Okay, I don't need to do that. And then yours actually edits a tile under the that's selected. So there we go. Does this just work? Let me see. Let me see what happens. It never just works, but let me see what happens. So I select perfectly normal. Zoom in a bit. Square tile here, and I want to say I can't zoom in that much because then the UI gets coughed. I want to say offset of 5. So nothing happened. Because let me follow. everything that happened here with my favorite tool, the debugger. Make sure that didn't hit. It is? Oh, okay. Yeah, we're adding a tile. And it does have an offset good. Pixel count will not be 1024, it's 832, yeah, because, yeah, it's like 26 times 32, which I think is what that number was, 838 something. So is it filling out here? So yeah, it did think that it already existed. Yeah, alright. Let's run through that again. No, I ran too fast. One more time. Go in. And there you go. And now it's going to try and see if there's a tile that already exists. 6 count 768. Yes, that holds. Oh, is it just doing this? Oh, for solid tiles. Yeah, which is... Okay. That's a problem right there. Don't even need to do that check specifically there. I'm just going to say, I'm going to move this up. Because you need to check that regardless of whether you're a solid tile or a functioning tile. Okay. Let's start that there. Attach the Unity. I'm almost out of time today, so I might have to pick this up later. I just want to see. Oh, okay. I need select it. It actually drew it. No, fine. I don't care that did that. I just want to do this. Yep, we're adding tile. And yep, we're adding tile, and pixel count 768. Yep. This should be false. Good. Okay. It's gonna go through this file. I could probably, instead of linearly going through this, I probably do some kind of hash. I mean, that's what hash code function saw earlier is for. So I probably make dictionary of this and not just list. But for now, let's just go to here. And not a. Okay, and when we finally process it, so it's queued up for processing, and next frame it actually does this. Yep, 1. 41. And here where the money happens. Wait, yeah. Okay, we now copy that entire white X block into the source structure array. So what we're expecting is that it's going to push, it's going to offset it to the right. Everything's going to shift over 8 pixels to the right. So yes, it's going to be doing the first 8 columns are going to be blank. That much so far look like it's going to work. And then here we are at the 8th, 9th column. Nah, it doesn't matter. So what I'm afraid it might do is just lob off the first 8 pixels and not shift it over. Okay, let me just run for a bit. Say pixel count 768. See what we get. Yeah, that's what happened. It just kind of lopped off the first 8. What we want to do is shift them. That shouldn't be that hard to accomplish. I feel like I'm very close to being able to do that. this need to be revisited, but I actually want to do. No, almost like a equals offset x. This is the x with the applied offset. Oh, what I actually have to do is like shift this array. Yeah. Okay, so that means when chunk passes that in. Yeah. It's not just this, it's not just the source x and it's with the pixel offset. Yeah, okay. I need to now be a little bit more about like copy from the the source atlas. Okay. Hmm. Um, Pretty much this. So if we have an offset, it's going to be. Oh, yeah, if. Yeah, pretty much that. And like, then we need to make sure we don't overrun the width of the source atlas. That would for sure be bad. So like, we'd also need to. We'll totally need a sub layer. I definitely will do that, but I won't do it until I see what I will see, which is. And that needs to be this. So it's like we're just shifting, we're changing the. Of course, now this gives us a color array that's shorter than. Gives us a color array that is shorter. It's smaller than the actual tile. So we also need to worry about that. When I do a copy to. I do have to kind of offset because it may be smaller. Yeah. Um, I'm just trying to be very explicit here. So we have this and if. So like copy but offset, I think is what this means. Let me make sure array copy to that parameter is what I think it is, like offset. perfectly fine now, but I think it actually doesn't do that. Ugh. Because what we have here is this scratch array belongs to tile is now a different size than the color being passed in. I might have just one last thing try. I might have been on the right track before. Yeah, let me not do that, and let me go back to trying this. So you do. It could just be a matter of just copying. I was gonna say I can apply the offset here and just kind of copy directly from this source into Scratch. If we do have something like this, then it's like this is kind of dumb and maybe it doesn't work, but I'm just kind of throwing something out. Oh, yeah, we got out of bounds. In the place I thought we'd get one. Alright, I'm gonna have to cut this for now. I might try and poke at it a bit later and then see what I come up with. Interesting, this is a little more involved than I thought, but it's gonna be cool. I just need to kind of think more about it. And then I'll either go over what I did next time, or we'll just keep working on it again next time. Alright, that'll be all for